It's all about making it easy for people, of course, but not just for the patients. I actually mean for yourself as well, and also more specific. So as long as you can get a person pushed in the right direction, they can book exactly what they need, which makes them happy, makes you happy, and then you've got more chance of retaining that person in the end. One of the other things is live availability. So the way that our online booking works is that it automatically shows the patient when you're next available. Now, it doesn't mean it's when you're really next available. It means when you're next available in terms of when you're okay for an online booking to be coming in. And just to be clear, when I say online booking, I don't necessarily mean an online appointment. I merely mean the booking process that a person would go through on a website or online to get an appointment with you, whether it's virtual or physical. The other thing I would say is you should prominently display clinician biographies if you can, whether that's credentials, whether that's a bit of the background of the person, a photograph, these kinds of things. It's all quite straightforward. And what I would say is often, having seen this kind of thing, a person will want to book with an individual clinician. They'll like the look of that person, what they stand for, and they'll want to book with that person. So one of the easiest things you can do is actually put a booking link there that will book that person straight in with that clinician. So they'll click a button, they'll go through to a branded online booking portal, and then they can book the service they want at the time they want, and that's it. You can obviously make them prepay or fill out any validation forms, pre-screening for COVID, that kind of thing at the same time. But essentially, that's one way of acquiring a patient quickly and getting all the paperwork out of the way there and then, without it being too arduous. And one of the other things that online booking can be used for is actually leveraging your referral network. So there's no real reason for you to have just a contact form that your referral partner then has to fill out and then wait for you to get back to them, probably have a phone call, whatever else you might need to ascertain suitability of the patient. You can actually just give trusted people a direct link. And you can give them a link that will tell you it was that person who booked, and it will allow them to put all the information they need straight in there in that booking, and it will go straight into your calendar. You can obviously refuse the referral. That's up to you, but it's better to have it in the calendar and another patient waiting to go than it is to have someone waiting for you to pick up your emails or whatever it is you're doing to acquire those patients. So what I want to know before I proceed is how many of you who are using online booking are using it to help referrals get in as well, and how many of you are, or rather, I'll leave a more open question. So how many of you would like to describe your online booking capabilities for me? So for example, do you allow people to book by service, by practitioner? Do you allow them to book specific locations? Do you allow them to choose between online and offline appointments? Do you provide them with a way to, for example, click a button and get all those things chosen in one step? And if you don't, if there's anything that you don't offer, for example, you don't allow people to book online consultations, you don't allow people to book with certain clinicians as a preference, is there any particular reason? Because it would be useful to do some myth busting, but also see whether you've got a genuine reason that actually, you have to stick with. Because just while you're answering, just to say that everything I'm saying today isn't necessarily going to be applicable to everyone. There are situations where some things are inappropriate and some things where they're more appropriate than others, and you have to pick and choose between two options. That, of course, is the case. Today is really just to give you as many ideas as possible and help you trying to apply these different ideas to your situation and understand what it is that you could be doing. That's really the idea. So Ravi says, not started online booking yet. I'm pretty sure that you will start very soon. The sounds of it. James says, by practitioner. So yeah, just as I was saying, really, choosing an individual person can be a very powerful tool because people are very influenced by what they see. They're very, very influenced by an individual, and actually seeing that the doctor is a human being and they actually see in advance who they're going to be with, that says a lot, and that really does build that level of trust. Paul says, my website does not facilitate online bookings. Bookings are made by phone call, email, and text. So, Paul, is there any particular reason why they don't facilitate online booking? The reason I'm asking is because, well, Christine will talk about it a bit later, actually, my colleague, but we have a way just to put a link on there, a button that would actually give you that capability. Just to be interesting to know. Maybe it's deliberate, I don't know, but you can tell me. Okay, so Paul says, I like to talk to my patients before I book them in. Now that obviously makes a lot of sense. I mean, in terms of the personal touch, that's great if you've got the time. Yeah, definitely. But in terms of liking to book them, helping to work out whether you can help them or not. So there are a couple of things you can try out if you start to get busier at some point and calling them becomes less realistic for proper long conversation. What you could do actually is use online booking to get them to book such an initial discovery call, even if it's free. To actually give them that choice of time actually may increase your conversion of people who come to your site and who end up being patients. Because they will see that you're definitely available at a certain time, you're allowing them to choose, and they'll book that in there and then. So I would recommend trying that if you haven't, and you probably will notice an increase in patients. And what you can do is do a bit of testing and see that sort of before and after whether there really was a difference. If there wasn't, you can stop doing it. But if there was, you'll be glad that you tried it. And there's not too much trouble to put together a bit of booking that will allow the person to choose you, choose the time, choose the fact that it's an initial call just to ascertain suitability. And of course, you can actually ask a few questions as you go along. So you can actually put a form up there saying, please describe your problem. Do you have any of these symptoms? We're going to call you back. Is there anything else you'd like us to talk about? And you'd actually know in advance then what they all want to talk about. So if there's anything you need to research or anything you want to look up, anything you want to think about beforehand, you will actually have that opportunity as well. And that will all drop into your from your booking system into our management platform. So you're keeping everything in one place. Essentially, it makes it a lot easier. Christine, my colleague here, says it's especially good for not missing out on patients who try to book out of working hours. So that's great as well. Yes. So when a person has to make a phone call and then they can't get through because it's out of hours, or if they write an email in the evening and they know it's not going to get answered the next day, or they write a text message and you're simply not around to answer it even, it does mean that you can actually at least have them in the system, have yourself being aware of them if there's that online capacity. Because even if you're going to call them back, you can at least put that there like a callback request. You record their number, check it's genuine, and by doing so, you will know that they're worth calling back, and you can go ahead and do so. And we do actually provide like a one-time SMS code verification process that facilitates that as well. So Swiss Physio says, before the comment just now, says patients can book services and practitioners and of course times. Yep, good. Not sure what you meant with permit direct professional referrals. So what I had in mind was you can essentially piggyback on the online booking process for the purpose of giving your referral partners the opportunity to book an appointment directly into your schedule. So essentially, they follow the same pathway as your patient would, with a few different changes to make it more streamlined for clinical purposes. And essentially, they're booking into your calendar the same way the patients would. The difference is you know exactly who the person was and what channel it was in advance, because it's obviously that person. And that's really all I meant. And the reason why that's good is the same reason why online booking is good for patients in general. It means that a person can get a referral straight in through to you. They'll understand that it's been booked because they'll get a confirmation on screen saying it's been booked. And they will be, they'll be confident that you'll then process that. You may well be calling them back and whatever else dealing with them, but at least they will know. They don't have to keep following you up or anything. They will know you've definitely got that. I see Swiss Physios said that they agree with the online booking being after hours. So I'm not too surprised about that. I'm sure that Christine will pop into the chat from time to time with a few things. If I miss anything or gloss over something, I'm sure that she will be there to point things out as always. So yeah, that's always good. What we're going to move on to then is just a few screenshots really of what I had in mind. So just to say, you can book by different services, book on a particular calendar day, and just going back to the idea of biographies and showing people who you are. Now, there is a certain degree of lack of willingness to sort of be out there and really show yourself off. And on the other hand, there are people who do it, perhaps too much. But generally speaking, I would say the rule is people don't do it enough. And actually, there's nothing wrong with doing this, really, showing people exactly who you are. It's, like I say, very, very good for building up trust. It's good to show them that you actually have a personality, you're a real person. That's almost never a bad thing. I suppose it depends on who you are, perhaps, but it really does allow people to feel that extra bit of confidence to book with you. And if you combine that with something like online booking, they can pretty much say, "Hi, I'm this person. I do this. I do that. I can help you in this way, that way. Here's my button." And essentially, that's what this screen does here. We release new videos every week. Hit that subscribe button to learn how to grow your practice faster.